Hello, and welcome to the show Goldsquadrongays. It's the podcast where two Star Wars loving gays break down each episode of their favorite Star Wars TV shows while also being gay as hell. I'm your host, Bradley Brower.
I'm your other host, Charles Rogers, and I am here to deliver a warning to Bradley. His eyebrows flitted up immediately and his eyes widened. The warning, Bradley, is that I have learned through the grapevine that apparently they're going to be announcing new stuff about Lego Star Wars The Skywalker Saga coming up in September. Okay. I just need to warn you that if they announce expansions for this game, which I doubt they will, but if they do, Bradley, it's going to impact our recording schedule because I will disappear for the length of time it takes me to play this expansion.
What else could they possibly add to this game that I don't even play the game and I vaguely know about it, and I know that almost every character that ever existed in Star Wars is on there. So what else could they possibly add besides Rebels and Resistance?
Well, if they weren't going to add character packs, which I have a feeling the announcement is just going to be more character packs, because that's all the DLC they did. But, they could do Clone Wars. They could do Rebels. There's character packs for Solo and Rogue One, but we don't have the planets. So they could add other planets, which is what I'm hoping they do. They could add Corellia. They could add Scarif. They could add Jeddah. That would be great. They could add a High Republic character pack and let me play as Avar Kriss and slice apart Emperor Palpatine.
I was gonna say they could add something more Lego themed. So what's the old Lego Star Wars movies?
Are you talking about the characters? Characters? There's already a classic characters pack.
Oh,
there's already a classic characters pack.
What's it called? It's called the Maker Adventures.
Freemaker Adventures. Yeah, we're going to talk about that today, actually.
Oh, okay. I was going to say they could add those characters, maybe.
Yeah, so Lego, it's weird because they did, was it Clone something? They did a clone, Yoda Adventures. The Yoda Adventures or whatever was what they did. And then when they made Freemaker Adventures, some of the same characters came back. And we'll talk about this in relation to one of the characters in the summer vacation, which, spoiler, is our topic today.
Speaking of Legos,
Legos almost got its own separate cinematic universe going on.
Well, I read a good example of that or a good explanation is that the settings and the characters are quote unquote canon to an extent, but the details of what's happening are not canon. So obviously, you don't have BB-8 putting a cucumber mask on.
You read this somewhere, Bradley? Do you want to know where you read it?
Where did I read it?
You didn't read it. You heard me say it on the last Lego Star Wars special and also in the holiday special, because that is a quote from the developers of the Freemaker Adventures, who said that to imagine the broad events as having happened, but this being a kid's recreation of them with his Lego toys.
Good example, yeah.
You heard me say it, you motherfucker.
Did you say that?
I did. I probably said it. I don't know. I'm
credit
not
where no credit is not due.
I'm not going to go back and check because, who am I, an actual podcasting professional?
Right.
Today, yes, we are going to be discussing the Lego Star Wars Summer Vacation special that premiered on Disney Plus a couple of weeks ago. We were a little late to the party, but that's fine.
That's because we're enjoying our summer vacation.
We are enjoying our summer vacation. You may have noticed there was no episode last week. It was definitely because Bradley and I are enjoying our summer vacation and not because both of us are so busy we could not find the time to record this episode.
Right. We were definitely on a cruise or something.
We were definitely on a cruise. I was sitting on a beach in
on
the Caribbean. On Scarif. I was at a Scarif beach party.
Yep.
I was enjoying way too many fizzy tauntauns.
Mm-hmm.
Bradley was doing the limbo.
Yeah,
and failing at it miserably with a lightsaber. So that definitely is what happened. And it's not that we're too stressed out and busy to do an episode last week. But we are here now to do Lego Summer Vacation. It's real short. It's 45 minutes. I always forget how short these things are.
It's funny. Yeah, I was watching. I was like, oh, it's over. I was like, oh, that was quick. And correct me if I'm wrong. I haven't remembered Terrifying Tales or the Christmas special in a long time, but is it the same format? Are they keeping the same format? Is there story, like mini stories each
Terrifying
time.
Tales was the same format where there was a framing device and then there was
Right.
the mini stories, which really harken back to like the days of all the way back to shit. I can't remember the name of it. It was one of the first quote unquote Lego movies ever made. This was around 2005, I want to say 2006, when the Lego was pushing movies pretty hard because they were doing the Steven Spielberg movie maker kit, which I owned and was fucking amazing. But they did like a Lego like movie where it was only like 5 minutes long and it was like everybody chasing each other through Cloud City trying to get Han Solo in carbonite. It was very funny. And these are almost like a continuation of that. Like Lego's been doing shorts for like 20 years. Like that's just so these are a lot of those Lego shorts like with a frame story around.
I thought it was weird too because the theme of this one was that Finn was encountering 3 Force ghosts or whatever throughout the entire trip. And I was like, isn't this like a Christmas story? Like 3
You know, I didn't even realize
ghosts?
that.
Right. I was like, wait a minute,
that.
why didn't they do that for the Christmas special?
I didn't even realize that they did it that way. That it's like, well, the Christmas special was like some weird time bending, time melting thing. And
Yeah.
we can't take that one too seriously.
No, that's true. But this one it very much felt like a Christmas story. It was like the past, the present, the future. You know what I mean? Like kind of esque. Like it was close enough to be that same kind of story to teach Finn a lesson, you know?
Yeah, the ghosts appear. Look, ghosts need a summer vacation too, right? That's when we meet Obi-Wan Kenobi. He's literally like, him and Anakin are like on vacation. And then Leia shows up in like her white gown and is like, no, I'm the only one who came prepared to do my job. We're going to just spoil the events of this. I'm sure I pre-recorded a spoiler tag right up front because I always think that I'm going to do it. And then I message Bradley like the night before because I'm listening back to the episode to make sure there's nothing that didn't need to be cut. And I'm like, shit, Bradley, hey, check the drive real fast. I threw in an intro that's like, hey, fucking spoilers for the movie or whatever. I just casually dropped the end of the book into conversation.
Right. I mean, people should, I feel like if you are seeing Star Wars content or things on YouTube or things on TikTok, you should like spoilers should just be like an obvious thing. Like you should just be like go in with the idea that you will be spoiled if you watch this. So maybe like hold off.
If it's been out for a certain period of time, which I feel like
we gave it enough time.
We're on the fence. I'll probably put a spoiler tag at the beginning of this episode, but something like Andor episode 1, when we cover, if you click on Andor episode 1 review, I feel like, and the review is 2 hours long, which I'm sure it's going to be. I feel like you should probably expect that we're going to spoil the entire episode while talking about it. Like, or if you click on like a YouTube video about the Rise of Skywalker, it's gonna tell you the ending of Rise of Skywalker 3 years later. Has it really been 3 years since Rise of Skywalker?
Feels like it was the 90s, you know, like I don't even remember it. It was so long ago.
And that was right before you and I started the podcast too.
Yeah.
Or no, it was about a year before.
Feels like forever.
Feels like forever ago. I'm sure there'll be a spoiler tag at the beginning of this. Spoilers for the stupid little fun Lego thing that's 45 minutes. Go watch it. Bradley, what did you think overall of Summer Vacation?
Ooh, in my ranking of Lego specials for Star Wars, if you add in the Christmas holiday or the holiday special, the Terrifying Tales, I think this one ranks. Summer Vacation ranks probably 3rd.
You're putting it at 3rd?
Yeah, out of the 3. I think the Christmas, or I keep saying Christmas, sorry, Christianity has a lock on my subconscious because of, you know,
you
trauma.
Grew up in this. Look, you grew up in the South. I also grew. I have to deal with the same thing. Trust me.
Right.
We're not doing it intentionally, audience. We know it's the holiday special.
Yeah, sorry, I keep saying that.
We're doing our best.
Holiday
here.
Special, the Life Day.
We both have religious trauma.
Right. The Life Day special is probably the best one out of just all 3 of them, just based on I don't know, plot. I really, it's hard to say that word on these things,
Plot.
but yeah.
There is a plot to that one.
Right. It has a little bit more of a story plot. The rest of them are kind of more like little mini stories that are kind of interwoven together. So they're kind of like a fun, little thing. But I think Terrifying Tales was really funny. So I like that one second. But then this one third, only because I don't know. It was just kind of meh to me. I think, this wasn't as strong.
See, I have like a completely different ranking. I actually put the holiday special at number 3.
Whoa, okay.
I thought it was great. It was amazing, but they still were kind of figuring out the formula. And I think the formula of jumping back to tell stories, like with the framing device, has worked for them so much better than just let's put Rey in Attack of the Clones.
Oh, I see what you're saying. Yeah, instead of having someone time travel every single time, it's better to just have someone tell a story. Yeah,
tell a story, and it's a very I love the formula because it's very it's a great thing for kids. It's a great framing. It's a great way to present stories to kids. If you present a story in a context of another story, they sort of get a chance to talk about the moral lesson of the story, which I think is very, very cool. I actually put this at number 2, and the reason it didn't get number 1, despite the stuff in the frame story that we'll talk about at the end, is that I thought it was a little, I didn't like the camp as much. And I will admit that this is because I'm a 31-year-old man who this is very much not intended for. But I actually liked Terrifying Tales' camp more than the summer vacation camp. The summer vacation camp was very colorful and fun. And I'm like, I kind of like the spooky more, which is ironic because I'm about to blow a bunch of homosexuals' minds. Halloween is one of my least favorite holidays of the year.
Well, that's just
that is the most controversial statement I have made on this show. I don't like Halloween that much.
Right.
But I do like scary, spooky stories. So I'm putting this one at a solid number 2. But this is also ranking different types of ice cream or different types of sexual positions. They're all good. None of these are things that I disliked.
Right.
This is entirely down to personal taste.
And also, I just realized something. Each Lego special focuses on a main character of the sequels.
Yes.
So the first one was Rey.
This is the unofficial sequel trilogy.
Yeah, because the first one was Rey, the second one was Poe, and now this one is Finn.
Yep.
I just realized that.
To shout out our friends at RuPaul's Pod Race, when is Rose getting her Arbor Day special?
Well, you know what? I was just about to say that. I think she'll get the next special, whatever that may be.
She should.
What haven't they done yet? St. Patrick's Day, Valentine's Day,
keep giving
Black Friday.
Kelly Marie Tran checks. Disney, you owe her.
You think
they'll
owe
her for not standing by her after The Last Jedi and letting her take all of that fucking shitty online, awful, racist, sexist abuse. Keep writing her checks. Just get her into the studio for one day, let her record her lines, and cut her a huge check. Just keep doing it, Disney. You owe her.
So I'm thinking she'll get a Thanksgiving Day special then.
There we go.
There you go. I think that's the next major one. That way they don't have to do another Christmas one. They can just be it's just another holiday thing, but it's not really Christmas, it's Thanksgiving or something. I don't know, they'll do something like that.
Just pick excuses to give her money. That's what I'm saying.
Yeah, I would like to see that one.
We should talk about the voice cast real fast. It's a lot of mainstays for people who've just voiced characters in animated Star Wars. Of course, D. Bradley Baker is here. Of course, Helen Sadler is back as Rey. Of course, James Arnold Taylor and Matt Lanter are here as Obi-Wan Kenobi and Anakin Skywalker. Yes, that is Matt Lanter as Anakin Skywalker. Mm-hmm. There was some question about that, but not as Darth Vader. That's Matt Sloan. Matthew Wood's here. Trevor Duvall's here. It's all the same people. Kelly Marie Tran is back as Rose Tico. Again, we'd love to see that. And of course, that is Billy D. Williams voicing Lando Calrissian. Mm-hmm. There's 2 voice actors in this that I particularly want to discuss. So one of them is the voice of, I keep forgetting her first name, Colvette Valeria.
Yes.
And the voice of this character is a woman named Yvette Nicole Brown. Mm-hmm. And Yvette Nicole Brown has previously voiced this character on the Freemaker Adventures. So this is part of the broad Lego, their own cinematic universe that
Interesting.
they
They brought
have.
her
The
back.
superior, better cinematic universe. Well, it was funny because she hosted the Lego panel that I was at.
Oh, okay.
I was sitting next to Brian and Chase from Pink Mill. We were watching the panel. She was the panel moderator. And she kept being like, this was obviously very staged, but it was very endearing. She was like, when are you going to bring me Lieutenant Valeria back? When are you going to bring Lieutenant Valeria back? When are you going to bring Lieutenant Valeria back? And finally, the panelists were like, well, we have an image and an announcement. And they popped up the thing on the screen and it was Lieutenant Valeria.
That's nice.
And she was like, oh, I am returning as Lieutenant Valeria for summer vacation.
That's so cool.
She has been in quite a few things in addition to just being an absolute banger of a host for some of the celebration panels. Just scrolling through, she's in a couple episodes of Family Guy.
Yeah.
She's in Muppets Haunted Mansion in 2021, which I think, let's see if she was in a Marvel thing.
She was.
She was?
That gives her our Disney trifecta.
A Disney voice trifecta.
She also has a physical Disney trifecta as well.
How?
Because she was in the live action Lady and the Tramp movie.
Okay.
As Aunt Sarah. She's the one with the cat. And then she also was in Avengers Endgame as an agent of S.H.I.E.L.D.
She's missing a live action Star Wars.
Okay, well, then I still
she's
count
close.
as Lego.
She's very, very, very close.
I still count it because she has the voice one, but at least that she has.
We'll give her like 80% of a trifecta. In fact, we'll go higher. We'll give her a 90% because she's been in the 3 animated and the 2. She might be our first person to ever complete a double Disney trifecta.
Besides Ming, right? Because we know
Ming. Oh.
Yeah, because Ming's done both. She's the only one who's done both.
Has Ming been the voice of... Hold on. Ming...
Well, she was the voice of Mulan in Wreck-It Ralph.
When?
She was the voice of Fennec Shand, and then she was the voice of some character in Guardians of the Galaxy animated series in Marvel.
Oh, yep. So Ming-Na Wen already has the double Disney trifecta. As
she's the only one.
She is a queen. But Yvette Nicole Brown is one live action. If she can get a cameo, Disney, if you're listening, put Yvette Nicole Brown in the background of something.
Right. Or just make
her in the background of one shot in Andor, and that will give her the double Disney trifecta.
Could she just not be this character, Colvette Valeria?
She could. You know what? She absolutely should.
There you go. And what era is Colvette in? Like she's in the
Rebellion era. She's in the Freemaker Adventures.
So she could she show up theoretically in Andor as this character?
It's a little early.
Okay.
But she could show up toward the end of Andor. She could show up to the end of season 2.
Okay. Well, I'm still holding hope for that then. That's my prediction.
Look,
for Andor.
Freemaker Adventures is canon-ish.
Yeah.
Like the Freemakers themselves, Rowan Freemaker, we know for sure is canon. Roger, we know for sure is canon. I wanted to call Garbala Garbanzo the Hutt. Like it hit my brain. I was like, Garbanzo the Hutt? That's not right.
Don't know if that one worked.
That's not right. Yvette Nicole Brown's also been in BoJack Horseman. It's also been in Community. Her IMDb page is a fucking mile long.
Yeah, she's been a lot.
She's done a lot of small parts in a lot of shows. The other contributor that I wanted to mention, playing a character named Vic Vanko, is a gentleman by the name of you've probably never heard of him, Bradley. By the gentleman by the name of Weird Al Yankovic. Weird Al Yankovic.
Doesn't ring a bell.
Doesn't ring a bell. I'm sure it probably shouldn't.
Oh, no, definitely not.
He's
definitely
a very
not my era.
obscure, minor singer and songwriter from my particular era. No, I kid. You know who fucking Weird Al is.
Of course.
You've heard a Weird Al song before. Weird Al is interesting because he's been baked into the DNA of Star Wars culture since Phantom Menace. Again, shouting at our friends at RuPaul's Pod Race. There's a very excellent episode that they did on Star Wars parody song, to which Claudia, who has been on Gold Squadron before, she was our Thrawn guest, explains to her 2 co-hosts who are around 21, 22 about the song The Saga Begins and the story behind that. And as she explains it and comes to the realization that the song is older than the 2 people she's talking to, I died a little bit inside and considered my entire life and my choices. However, However, Weird Al has been a big sort of part of Star Wars fan sphere for a very, very long time. And he's also well known for his parody songs. You've heard them.
Yep.
You don't need. So he actually appears in this and performs the Scarif Beach Party, which I was a little disappointed in. It was good. It was a bop. However, I was expecting like a parody song from him, and I didn't get that. So little disappointed on that, but it was good to see him recognized for his contributions to Star Wars. Alrighty, well, we'll run through the 4 stories. Well, rather the 3 stories in the framing device real quick. Our first story, Bradley, which is the one about the Lieutenant Valeria teaming up with Obi-Wan Kenobi to break into Jabba the Hutt's birthday party, featuring the absolute banger Gamorrean girls. What did you think of this segment?
First of all, where were the Gamorrean girls? I needed them to show up.
They were there, Bradley. Can you not tell the difference between Gamorrean? Can you not tell the difference between Gamorreans?
I guess not.
Okay. Well, after we enroll Bradley in Gamorrean sensitivity training, it's weird. We have never seen a canon Gamorrean girl before.
Yeah, there's a whole song about them, but
there's a song about them, but I don't think we've ever seen one.
You know what? The reason why we haven't seen one is because they're like obviously sexist because they just wear bikinis and they don't wear anything else. Obviously,
yeah, they're mercifully keeping them off screen for us.
They're really bad parodies of like just
or
alternatively
they're keeping the Gamorrean girls off screen because they're like actually like super normal looking and would damage the Gamorrean brand.
Oh my god.
Hold on, let me see. I know that Gamorrean females exist.
Right.
The question of have we seen them? I don't think we've ever canonically seen one. I think we saw them in Legends.
I mean, it would be interesting if maybe Boba Fett season 2, maybe he tries to
let's get some equal opportunity Gamorreans in here.
Like maybe
there's no reason there's no reason that Gamorrean women can't be like fighters as well.
Right.
Let's get some badass like Gamorrean ladies with dual battle vibro axes. Let's get some fucking like lady barbarians up in here. I love it when fantasy does that.
I just thought of something hilarious. Okay, so if people out there, if you've ever watched Rick and Morty, there's an episode of Rick and Morty where Morty fucks a robot and it has a baby with him or whatever. And the species that it is, the alien species that is, the males are dumb and submissive to the female species, which are super smart and beautiful and towering Amazonian women, right? And so,
oh my god, the Gamorreans are matriarchal. I love that.
That's exactly what it is. They only live on their planet and they're separating themselves from the very like terrible, awful male species, and they have their own separate utopia of just women. And then it's like in this golden city. That's where the
Hey Bradley. Hey Bradley.
What?
I quote directly from the Wikipedia canon article on Gamorrean.
Oh no.
Gamorreans had a clan-based society. Each clan was ruled by a female leader, the clan matron, and a male leader, the warlord.
I'm dead.
So they are not matriarchal, but they are joint rule.
Okay, but what I just need to know what they look like.
Gamorreans, at least according to this, are called sows. In Gamorrean society, they will farm and they will hunt. Although the sows farmed and hunted while boars waged wars, the Gamorrean society was in fact a matriarchy. Indeed, a warlord held his position by way of marriage to a matron rather than force, although matrons did make selections based on boars' combat skills. So you were 100% right, actually.
I love it.
Gamorrean society is a matriarchy, and that's why we never see them, because they would never demean themselves to go out and do guard duty for Jabba the Hutt.
So then we need to go to the planet of Gamorrean or whatever it's called, and then we need to see them. We need to see what they're like.
It's the planet of Gamor in the Outer Rim territories. It has only been mentioned.
Okay.
It's only been mentioned.
Maybe we meet. I was gonna say maybe we meet like a female Gamorrean bounty hunter, and she's like she wants to join Boba's team or something like that. Maybe that's that arc, and somehow she speaks English. I don't know. I mean, sometimes our basic.
Not a Valance team up with a Gamorrean matron. Oh,
I feel like it would be really.
This has opened up this one stupid song
about
hopping on the dance floor has opened up this extended discussion on Gamorrean culture. On Gamorrean culture. There's your fun fact for the day. Gamorreans are a matriarchy,
Right.
and that is your fun fact for the day.
Loves it.
The other thing I wanted to like briefly discuss was Lieutenant Valeria. Love the fact that they just casually can bring in like Freemaker characters because they don't take it that seriously. Why is she here? Does it matter? It doesn't matter. She's here because it's a rebellion era story, and we love Yvette Nicole Brown. So love
I
that.
like her. Yeah, I like it. I think she's a cool character. I for a second though, because I don't know the Lego Star Wars, Freemaker stuff. Like I never watched that stuff. So when I saw her, I was like, oh, is she like supposed to be Lando's, whatever girlfriend, if you want to call her that, like to create the character of Janna. Like I thought that possibly this was Janna's mom or something. Like I didn't know anything about it. So I was like,
we still don't know anything about Janna's mom.
Okay.
So it's not impossible
that it's her.
That it's her.
Possibly, maybe.
Or no, Janna's, it just registered to me what you said. I was reading something. Janna's not Lando's daughter.
She's not? I thought that was like implied heavily.
She is not. She is not Lando. At least nowhere is explicitly stated. I thought she was too, and at the end of the film, but no.
Yeah, I thought they were like implying heavily.
They were implying that the two of them were going to go off and try to find like Lando's daughter and her family, but like,
right?
Nope.
Oh, I thought that was the whole twist. Was that like he was like, oh, we should go find?
It would be a very obvious. It would be a very obvious, and frankly, in my opinion, it would have been a really shitty twist to do that.
Yeah.
It would have been like, oh, you introduced, obviously she's like his daughter because there's some of the only like black people in the cast. That would have been really shitty to do. I'm glad they were separate characters.
I mean, I wouldn't put it past them.
100%. I wouldn't put it past them to do that. Like, I don't know. That would have squished me out a little bit. I would have been like, that's like, it would have been a kind of a yikes choice there, Chief. But I do love Valeria in this. Really, really fast moving on because we have been at this for 30 minutes and we're coming up on the length of the actual episode. What'd you think of the second section with Vader and Palpatine?
It was kind of boring. I mean, I like the character of Palpatine. I like that really hilarious, like version of him, very Robot Chicken-esque version of him.
Palpatine is easily the best part of any of these that he's in.
Oh, no, for sure.
100%.
I didn't care for the story or like it was just kind of like no one knows who they are until their hat comes off, like, kind of bullshit. Like I was like, okay. And then I did like though the framing of Anakin telling the story, being like, I knew this guy who was really evil one time who also took a vacation. And I was like, okay, Anakin. Like
it was fine.
Yeah, this is my least favorite of the three stories.
Yeah, it was fine. It was fun. Palpatine was fun. Scarif Beach Party is still a bop. Like, I'll give it that. It's a bop.
Right.
There wasn't like a lot of meat to this one. It was mainly like, oh, it's Vader and the Emperor, and they cheat their way to winning. But then everyone gets participation trophies, which participation trophies are not a thing. Well, they are a thing, but they're a thing that does not exist because of the kids. It exists because parents couldn't handle their kid losing. So, third story, which is much better, is the Ben
Organa
Solo Ewok resort story with our flamboyant gay caricature of Wick, who apparently is from the Freemaker Adventures, but I don't remember him at all.
Really? I was surprised you didn't bring him up in the voice casting because he's such a prolific actor.
Who is it?
His name is Thomas Lennon. He's from Reno 911. He's from, just a lot of stuff. Like he was in that movie 17 Again with Zac Efron, and then he was like just lots of stuff. He's hilarious. Because I was recently watching Reno 911 the other day, and because I love rewatching that show, it's so fucking funny. But yeah, he's a hilarious actor, and he does the stereotypical gay voice all the time.
The part is hilarious. I understand why they maybe didn't want to do this, but he does have a daughter and he is running a bed and breakfast. It is very heavily implied this man is not straight, but because it isn't like confirmed even in a throwaway dialogue line, it felt a lot like a caricature to me. And that made me mildly uncomfortable, even though I enjoyed the character and I thought it was well acted.
Okay.
I thought they were sort of falling back on some of the tropes. Like owning a bed and breakfast is a big like signal for this character is gay. In the recent Sandman, we see a gay character owning a bed and breakfast. So like that's a thing. That's been a trope in media for a very long time. I guess he owns a campground. I don't know. I was mixed on this character. What did you think of the short, Bradley?
This short was more interesting to me than the other two, only because it does delve into the family unit of Organa Solo, which we never really got to. Well, one, we never, not not never got to see. We never saw it in the sequel trilogy. They just told us that they had a kid together, and then something happens to where Solo's like, oh, I gotta get out of here because I don't like to stay with my family, just like my friend Chewbacca.
So what they say happens is they send the kid to train with Luke.
Right.
When he gets to the age where he can train, and stuff happens. Ben goes to the dark side. They think that Ben like turns to the dark side and destroys the school. That's not quite what happens. Rise of Kylo Ren is a bit of a controversial comic because it does walk this back a bit.
Mm-hmm.
But as far as they are concerned, what happened is Ben went dark side, and because of that, sort of the trauma of that made Han regress back to his smuggler days and separated from his wife, who he remained married to. And then Luke like fucked off to an island somewhere.
Right. I don't know. I like young Ben. I think it's funny.
This is a point that we don't, because we've seen him when we see him in Rise of Kylo Ren, he's already training.
Mm-hmm.
And at least canonically, I don't think we see him with his family when he's not a very young child. He's a very young child in Lost Stars. Shout out Lost Stars by Daniel Jose Older. But we don't get to see a lot of like him as like a older child or preteen,
right,
and his interactions with his family. And this was a really fun, which, even ends with him going off to train with Luke. And the Lego short is basically like, no, Han and Leia were good parents, actually. Fuck you. And you're assuming they weren't because he turned to the dark side.
Yeah. I also, the questionable storyline of the Ewoks made me, it was giving me like the white man comes in and builds a resort on the natives' lands vibe. Like, and I was like, what is going on here? And then at the end, they were like, oh, he can just work for me, or work for, like, the Ewoks can work at my resort. And I was like, oh, I don't
and
like
the Ewoks are like, no, actually, we co-own the resort,
right,
actually.
exactly.
And our name is first on the billing.
On the billing,
So,
right.
I'm not sure I'll go so far as to say Lego Summer Vacation said land back, because it didn't.
Right.
It definitely tacitly like endorses the Wit coming in. But you're right. I did like that Wick's whole thing was like, let me bring some famous people to endorse my resort so these annoying natives will stop bothering me about their land that I'm taking. And then they show up and it's like, oh no, we're like friends with the local inhabitants of the planet, actually, and we're gonna take their side because they're correct.
Right.
And you're a jackass. I did love that.
Yeah, I like how Leia's like, I don't know if I feel comfortable with this.
It's like, this seems a little imperialist to me.
Right. It's a little questionable, but
a little colonizing going on here.
Right. It worked out though.
I mean, it did work out at the end of the special. Which, speaking of the end of the special, you want to talk about the framing device a little bit, which is Finn trying to have a vacation with his friends, Poe like trying to fit all of the activities in, Rose and Chewbacca trying to escape Poe, and Rey, my personal icon, completely fucking off to fall asleep with a book on the beach. Like, absolutely, yes, slay. So valid for that. What did you think of the frame story?
I like we said earlier, I think it works because it's better than time travel, right? The time travel gimmick you can't use every time from the holiday special.
That worked one time, and the Terrifying Tales really demonstrated how strong here's our 3 stories, and then the climax of the frame story, and then we're done.
Right, exactly. It definitely works way better in this story. What I do find interesting about this one is, like you said, it's not canon, but the events are canon, but like the details are not. I find it interesting that these Lego Star Wars shorts are trying to give us like, here's what the sequel trilogy continuation was kind of like.
It literally ends with, here's what all the characters are going off to do.
Right, which,
and I'm like,
I love some of the stories.
Interesting. No, I love what they have them all doing.
Yeah.
And I have also loved, and this is a personal thing of mine, I have also loved that all 3 of really the first and third one more so, but it's prevalent through all 3 that Rose has been treated as a member of the team the entire time, which I have really liked, because she got super shafted in Rise of Skywalker, which was bullshit. Now, I am wondering, where is Jannah?
That's what I was wondering.
Why is she not here too?
That's what I was wondering the whole time, because I was like, if Finn's story, like he said, is that he's going to go out and find people like him, that's what he said at the end of the Skywalker
Force sensitive
movie.
People, which also the Lego Lego sequels said, no, Finn is a Jedi, actually. Fuck you, Rise of Skywalker script. We are making it explicitly clear that Finn is a Jedi. We're not just putting one scene at the end of the movie.
Right. I like it. And I think that I like the idea of that. I just don't know where Jana is. Like, if she's so important, to that storyline that they set up in Skywalker, they could have easily just added her in here as a side character and just been like, she's
we
here.
We can even just see her, she's off on
with
her
the group, right?
Quest to find where she comes from and all of that at the end of Rise of Skywalker. But also, you could just see her in the background. She could be on Scarif. She needs a vacation too, guys. Where is Jana? Why is she not here?
Right. And if you wanted to even take it a step further, maybe she was in the holo vid with Lando being like, oh, we're like partners now.
That would have been so easy.
Yeah. It would have been so easy just to add her in.
But anyway. A really grudging Jana have to do this as part of we need money for our travel. That would have been very funny. I think she appears in at least one of the others, but I can't remember which one. I think it might have been the Holidays. No.
Is she?
I might be thinking, no, I think I'm thinking Lego Star Wars The Skywalker Saga. She obviously appears in that. Ugh. All right. Yeah, I definitely wanted to. I fucking love, this is my last thing, besides the sequel thing, which I love. There's two elements of this frame story that I absolutely love. The first is the entire thing with Poe, where he's planned the vacation down to the minute. Because, Bradley, you've been on plenty of trips with groups of people. Is there not always at least one person in the group that's like this?
Okay, so here's my thing about this. There's two problems I have with this. One is that this is too accurate. The second is that why is Poe the actual gay of the group, though? Why is that real? Because they're now canonizing him as gay because of this exact fact that he is the planner of the whole entire thing.
I don't want to be like Poe is gay because I have decided he is.
Right.
Which is a perfectly valid way to approach things. However, I feel like Poe is the relentless obsessive with planning things. Has established Poe not only as gay, but definitely as a bottom, or at least a verse bottom.
Oh my God. No, we've talked about this. I think we've talked about how in Rise of Skywalker, they were trying to inadvertently be like, look, he has a girlfriend, ha ha ha, he's not gay. But they inadvertently made him gay by being like, no, she's obviously a lesbian. And they just realized it together that they were both gay. Or they're
like a bi for bi couple.
That's right. Is that what you said? That's what you said.
He's obviously into Finn, but Zori is also hot.
Right.
What's wrong with we'll take this a step further. What's wrong with pansexual Poe Dameron, right?
Yeah,
Holdo herself says human males are so limiting to Leia. Why can't Poe Dameron be exactly the same way? Why does it have to be humans? I'm just saying.
I feel that.
I absolutely loved that gimmick with Poe where he's trying to plan everything. And the other thing I loved was the running joke where Obi-Wan tells Finn to relax, and then every other person he meets who knew Obi-Wan was like, really? Are you sure?
Are you sure that's who you're talking
to? Obi-Wan said that?
Love that.
Love that. Thought it was hilarious. Yeah, I'm really happy with the unofficial sequel trilogy.
I know, but now I kind of just want to see these stories. That's what I think. That's one thing that these Lego movies do to me is make me go they're essentially, I hate saying this, they're essentially what ifs. And it's what if Finn and Poe went out to the Outer Rims and looked for Jedis and blah, 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 blah. Or Finn continued training with Rey and they both were enhancing their abilities and all that kind of stuff. I'm I want to see this to an extent. I need to see this. So it's I don't know how they're going to do it, but I just don't know if we're quite done with the sequel characters.
We're definitely not. We're definitely, well, even Oscar Isaac, who was a big holdout, has walked back recently, within the past few weeks of recording. He has gone on an interview and he has said, look, if it was a good story and Kathy asked me, I would be willing to entertain coming back and doing more. So I think some of the sting of the sequels has started to subside.
Right. It just we need to give it time. It's just like the prequels. You got to give it time to breathe and got to give people time to go, oh, that was my Star Wars. And then from then you can create new things.
Well, Force Awakens came out in 2015.
Right.
So it's been 7 years. So if you were 10 years old when The Force Awakens came out, you're now 17.
Right.
And I just looked it up real fast. This was me typing in the background. So Star Wars The Clone Wars, the movie, came out in 2008. Revenge of the Sith came out in 2005. So we're kind of getting up to the point where maybe we could start seeing some sequel stuff. I know it's a big like controversial thing in the Star Wars fandoms that are like, there's no sequel content. They're not making any sequel content because they don't like the sequels. I'm like, first of all, there are a shitload of books and comics that are, you can read the Poe Dameron comics by Charles Soule. They're excellent. You can read Phasma and Black Spire. There's plenty of sequel content that's out there if you just go out and look for it.
Right.
Number two, it takes time. There wasn't a lot of prequel content until 2008 came out. People that are coming up now who are, have grown up in the era of the sequels or the era of the Clone Wars, you don't understand. It was the same thing when the prequels were coming out. There was no prequel content. There was books and comics and the odd licensed game that would tie it in. But they didn't start doing the Clone Wars until 3 years later. So calm down, deep breaths. Lucasfilm does not hate the sequels. You need to chill, okay? And we're getting these Lego stuff, which is all set in the sequel era. Oh, by the way, is for kids. Oh, by the way, is the target audience for this, which, oh, by the way, is the people who really like the sequels.
Right.
It's kids and people who appreciate really campy, shitty art like me. Bradley, do you have any final thoughts on the holiday special now that I've gone on a tangent about how online discourse is wrong and stupid and people should delete their Twitter accounts and make me stop having to see it?
My last and final thought is more stormtroopers in bikinis and speedos. That's my final thought.
Listen, Lego Star Wars The Force Awakens, the video game, did it first, right? Lego Star Wars The Force Awakens, the video game. She fucking walked. She fucking strutted that runway so that Lego Star Wars Summer Vacation could run.
I just wanted to.
My final thought.
I was just gonna say that was just like I just want everybody to know that like that's just a thing that exists now. Okay.
Thank you, Bradley. So as far as our upcoming few episodes, there obviously wasn't an episode last week. Just sometimes life happens. Unlike our friends at Darkside Divas, we did not pre-record episodes to slot in there. Next week, we will it really depends on my service to the Empire and whether or not I am summoned repeatedly to do it. But we will either be doing something fun and then taking a week off to get ready for Andor, or we'll have to take 2 weeks off. But we will be back for our Andor episode 0 the week after that, and then I have to look at your face for an extended period of time, Bradley.
If we're lucky,
we're gonna do a shitload of TV.
I was gonna say, if we're lucky, they'll push Bad Batch for luck.
Push it a little bit so we don't get too far behind.
Right. Like, it would be nice if they did that. I mean, I'm hoping that Andor is at least either half done or mostly done by the time Bad Batch starts. That's kind of my hope, because then we're gonna have to slot in Tales of the Jedi somewhere, and I don't know how that's gonna happen.
Stop reminding me. I saw an episode of Tales of Jedi. It's so good. We will have to devote a full episode to each one.
Yeah,
it's crazy.
Maybe we'll be able to break up Bad Batch or something. I don't know. Well, I just don't know. I just don't know how it's gonna work.
We'll figure it out.
We'll do it right after Bad Batch is over. I don't know. We'll have to think. We'll figure it out. But it'll.
You know what?
It'll happen.
At this point, Bradley, you and I are experienced Star Wars whores. We've gotten very, very, very good at being fucked by the Lucasfilm schedule.
I know.
So we are just gonna ride that Lucasfilm schedule off into the next few months and hope that it is at least everybody gets off. That is the worst analogy I've ever made.
On that note,
we're gonna run the socials now so I can go think about my life.
Thank you for listening to Gold Squadron Gays. Did Charles fuck something up? Send us a message at goldsquadrongays@gmail.com. Follow us on Twitter at Gold Squad Gays. Follow us on Instagram and TikTok at Gold Squadron Gays. Subscribe to us on YouTube at Gold Squadron Gays, where we post the podcast as well as exclusive content. Please join us next week and every week for more of Gold Squadron Gays.